Whoville were a magical little village, filled with joy, wonder, and Christmas cheer. But despite this, atop Mount Crumpet dwelled a creature so miserable, so rude, and so green with envy, if you will, that he made it his life mission to ruin Christmas for everyone. This was the Grinch. Welcome to the 19th episode of Drunk Powerscaling, the show where I hungoverly powerscale my favourite characters.
That was pathetic.
The Grinch, regardless of the adaptation, had one goal in mind, a plan so devious it would steal the joy of so many that had wronged him. Steal Christmas. To do so, he needed a specific set of skills, like his acrobatic skills, including a double jump. And despite being stuck in a cave for 50 years, he has a genius level intellect capable of creating all sorts of devices, such as a vacuum sound sweeper capable of sucking all sound within 50 miles. He has a rotten egg launcher that can cause a Who's eyes to glaze and their mouth to gape, which can be assisted by his binoculars, improving his aim. The rotten eggs also fuel his rocket spring, which can launch the Grinch high into the air. With the slime shooter, he can encase you with slime, and for some reason needs rotten eggs as a fuel source. He borrowed Doc Ock's tentacles to climb walls. For flight, he has the Grinch copter, which uses eggs. Again, he has a candy cane staff that acts as a magnet, has a grappling hook, and can ensnare foes. He has ninja stars, extendable shoes, and a vacuum. The marine mobile can traverse through water. He has his iconic sleigh, giant catapults, bad breath that can damage or weaken foes, as well as allow him to see things that the naked eye cannot. He has the ability to send his eyebrows out to attack you. He has size manipulation, and the Dark House, which can fire beams of darkness that can completely blind an enemy within the circumference, retexture them, and make them very high. He has a wagon that contains a dimension of paranormal creatures inside. He possesses the ability to steal things from dreams and some level of telepathy, as he can read his dog's thoughts. And although he can't directly interfere with anything, he can talk to his narrator and the audience at home. But the ability I'm the most confused about how to incorporate into this is what happens at the end of the story. The Grinch eventually discovered the true meaning of Christmas. It wasn't about presents, but about companionship and appreciation about the good things in our lives. Here, he gains a 12 times strength boost, which potentially can apply to all stats. So, let's discuss speed.
He was ready to pounce and set the score right. He'd make up for the past, and he'd do it tonight.
Okay, now let's steal Christmas.
He can avoid being hit by snowballs, dodge concentrated electricity. He stole all of Whoville's presents in a single night. In 25 hours, the Grinch dug 486 miles. He shot down Santa's sleigh whilst piloting his own, which, according to real-world scientists, means the Grinch's sleigh would have to pilot itself at 0.5% the speed of light. He'd also have to perceive events at this speed as well. In a book, a digging feat also happens, but we don't get a time frame, and our only distance measurement is, and I quote, digging halfway to the nearest star. But this time, it definitely gets beyond faster than light. So this means the Grinch is sub-relativistic plus thanks to the Santa feat, but likely beyond light speed. But that feat is tricky to calculate. So let's move on to durability.
All this excess and nonsense, it was all about greed. About meaningless stuff that they didn't even need.
Yeah.
He can shrug off being splattered against this tree and thrown off his mountain to the Whoville Christmas tree. He survived several hits from many monsters and being slammed headfirst into a bell. He survived being electrocuted with minimal damage, as well as being hit with hot steam. Somehow he can twist his neck around with no pain and not die of a heart attack after it grows 3 sizes. He even tanked a mine explosion which sent him flying, so we can place him at wall level for durability. Not surprising. Let's move on to our final category, power.
And I am not some trained dog that you can just beckon anytime you want me to perform for you. Oh, look at me! I'm the narrator, and I think I can tell anybody what to do.
He destroyed a giant crate by simply jumping on it. He throws snowballs so hard that they once knocked a Who out of their shoes. He sent a guy flying by jumping on a wooden plank. He's pushed a large stone slab, pulled a large safe and opened it by jumping on it. He can grow very big. He lifted all of the Who's presents, trees and decorations. He can destroy massive blocks of ice. And his rotten egg launcher can destroy walls of solid stone. Plus, his car can break down large doors, and his marine mobile can also knock down large stone walls. Now, you may be wondering, if you're a regular to this show, why I did not cover attack potency first. Well, taking into account the 0.5% the speed of light of the Grinch's sleigh, we can actually figure out the amount of energy needed for Santa to travel the globe in a single night. Taking into account that there's potentially around 300 million households on Earth with children, and the amount of energy gained from cookies, milk, and carrots, studies have concluded that this would take 1.42 times 10 to the power of 27 joules to power Santa and his sleigh. That's potentially up to 339 petatons of TNT, enough to destroy multiple continents. Holy shit! Well, that escalated quickly. With the sled feat, it's potentially looking like multi-continental. Obviously, it's impossible to get an exact calc for Santa's sled energy, but it is still insane to think about. Of course, the Grinch himself does not scale to this, but in his sled, he certainly can. Otherwise, his next best feat can only be done on the water, and after that, it's yet another case of wall level. Oh well. And that's that. Probably not a long one, but there's limited media here. I just wanted to wish you all a happy holiday season, especially to those of you who don't have a large social circle or will be lonely on Christmas Day, as you deserve just as much love as anyone else. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. So, I hope you enjoyed. Stay safe, and as always, be excellent to each other.
And the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.